Now, though, let's cross over to my colleague, Kojo Yankson, who is all the way in Agbogbloshie, and that's because he's discoursing with the Greater Accra Regional Minister. Let's listen.
Sellers until this road, where the proper onion trade began, from that road all the way through here, as far as your eyes can see, onion sellers interspersed with carpenters, spare parts dealers, all kinds of wheelers and dealers were set up here in shacks and huts, selling hour by hour to the people of Accra and supplying in bulk to people who were traveling to other parts of the country. This market was notorious for the traffic that it created on this road I'm standing on. As far as the eye can see in this direction, there was traffic, cars and trucks parked here to buy from the onion sellers. Now, at the end of this road is Aboseokai. From that point onwards, traffic was impossible. If you were trying to get to Accra Central through here to Jamestown, forget it. It would take you all day. But now look, absolutely nothing. All of these traders, hundreds of them, thousands of shacks and huts have all been cleared from here. All of them gone. And this is the work of one man. That's the man we're meeting today. And I want us to walk rather quickly as we catch up with him, because as usual, he is ahead of the pack. I'm talking, of course, about the Greater Accra Regional Minister, Henry Quartey. Today, I'm going to spend time with him. If you're listening to us live on Joy 99.7 FM, thank you for joining us. And of course, thank you for watching us on the AM show. Now, we're going to be here for quite a while, getting to know Mr. Henry Quartey, getting to understand the reason why he, for the very first time, seems to be succeeding at doing what none of his predecessors have been able to do, bringing order to the chaos that is Accra. Now, Accra is a city that unfortunately has not benefited from planning. When I say it has not benefited from planning, what I mean is that people tend to do what they like. People set up where they like, sell what they like, build what they like, and the citizens are forced to live with the consequences. Traffic is crazy in Accra. Congestion is impossible in Accra. And this is because nobody sticks to the plan. Nobody follows the rules. Well, Henry Quartey has decided that that ends now. And he seems to be doing a rather impressive job of bringing order. All these onion sellers have been relocated. They used to ply their trade here on a daily basis. You would find them here on every inch of this land we are now walking freely on. You would find them here selling all day long, creating traffic along this main road, which leads to Aboseokai. But now they're all gone. And it's Henry Quartey who moved them. So just take a look around, left, right. Look at the expanse of land that is now suddenly free because the Greater Accra Regional Minister decided that it should be so. Now, when he started, there was a lot of doubt. People thought that this would be a one-day wonder. But months into his tenure, we see that he continues to achieve these results wherever he goes. The Medina stretch is one of the first places where he chalked success in ensuring that congestion is cleared and traffic can move smoothly. He got rid of all of the traders on the sides of the road that caused traffic at Medina. And today, if you're traveling towards Ibri, it's a breeze. That's all thanks to him. You can see him in white, standing with his team, observing the work that is being done. And today we're going to learn as much as we can from him about that work and why he seems to be succeeding where others have failed. Greater Accra Regional Minister Henry Quartey, thank you for your time and good morning.
Thank you. And good morning to your cherished viewers and listeners as well.
Thank you. Mr. Quartey, this is unrecognizable. When you came here first and saw miles and miles of shacks and huts and traders and dealers, were you able to foresee that you could possibly achieve this result in such a short time?
Well, I thought, yes, I had a plan. Yes, the plan has to be executed. But how can that plan be executed to the fullest was the question that kept going through my mind. But then, having started a few exercises around the capital, or in the capital you can say, and with the kind of commendations that we were getting as a ministry, and I say this because it is not Henry Quartey, it's a teamwork. And so I have a team, I have a security and intelligence agencies that are working, so I don't claim the credit for myself alone. But then the major challenge was, okay, so this whole exercise is not new. It started right from President Rawlings's time. May his soul rest in perfect peace, actually. Then came President Kufuor. Then came President John Atta Mills. May he rest in peace as well. Then came President John Mahama. Then we have President Akufo-Addo. Now, it is not to say that this exercise has not been done before, or has not been, nobody has attempted it rather. But any time this attempt is made, somebody, somehow, from the big house, will call and say, hold it right there. So the question that was going through my mind is, okay, how is this going to go? But I was determined to walk the president's talk and to help in fulfilling his promise of making Accra one of the cleanest cities in Africa, as he promised in 2017. So we put a team together, and we had several meetings. That was when we began to hold the stakeholder engagements with those who hitherto used to occupy this place. And I must say that the credit goes to His Excellency the President, because he allowed his regional representative, my good self, a humble servant, to work without any interference. And today this is where we are. So we thank the President indeed for, in fact, even making me the regional minister, giving me the opportunity to serve in his government. Alone is enough.
So I'm gathering from what you've explained that really the difference between what you have done that has resulted in the success so far and what predecessors may have attempted is the fact that you have been allowed to work.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's what it is. The credit goes to the president.
Right. So if at some point, and this is a complete hypothetical because I'm sure you don't expect it to happen, but if at some point an order comes from the presidency that, oh, we've got an election coming up, people are not happy with, what you're doing, put the brakes on.
Well, there's a saying that agrobeswa nefrianopa. Clearly, I haven't had any interferences at all from anybody in the party, the presidency, anywhere. So it tells you that we are on a roadmap. And what it also means is that we should make sure that this whole exercise is done, making sure that we attach the human face to it, making sure it is a win-win situation for all. It cannot be that we just go and remove people because Henry Quartey wants to remove people because the presidency is not interfering. But it has to be done strategically so that at the end, the people win, government wins. As it is, government is committed to ensuring that jobs are created. Of course, it's not everybody here who is going to go to 8 to 5 and work. There's a food chain, okay? And people have to make ends meet. So in doing so, we are mindful of the fact that they are also able to make ends meet through their various ways of going to the market to work.
So we've had the same president for over 4 years now. Why do you think this is the time when you're seeing this kind of support from the presidency for this sort of work that you do?
Well, I'm trying to understand your question, because hitherto I was not the regional minister.
No, but I
hitherto I had not embarked on this exercise.
But it is undoubted that hitherto what you are doing had never succeeded. So as the regional minister who sought the support of the presidency.
No, I didn't say I sought the support of the presidency. Right. I said there was no interference.
There was no interference.
Very well.
So I guess my question to you is this: do you think that it is because of interference in the past, over the past 4 years, and but before that?
I haven't said that. I'm only saying that we have a president who allows you to work. When he gives you, he gives you, or he designates you to represent his interests, he allows you to work. Of course, you should also be mindful of the fact that there's a government policy. So in doing so, you try not to as it were, move away from the government policy. So we have a president who is independent. He doesn't interfere in what ministers do. But of course, you are guided. And I am a regional minister. There are sector ministers. So we should also be careful not to create the impression that Henry Quartey is a master of all. No. I only coordinate the implementation of government policies, monitor and evaluate same. There are sector ministers who are cabinet ministers, and they actually interrogate the matters. They actually go to think and decide on the policies that government has to follow. Yes.
Let's talk about this particular spot. So now it's clear. What's the plan for this space?
The plan is, as you can see, I don't know whether you have an area view, or you had an area view of how this place used to be. Well, did you?
No, I'm actually a fairly new resident of Accra, so I didn't have.
Well, I'm not speaking to you as the Joy reporter, but I'm speaking to you as a multimedia person. So your agency should have.
Oh yes, we have seen videos.
Very well.
Yes,
so at least you have an idea how this place used to be. Now, there are few issues that we have to look at. Of the 20 years or more that he occupied here, the question that arises: were they paying utility bills, water bill, electricity bill? And indeed, if they were not, if we try to put figures around it, over the 20 years, how much has it cost governments in terms of revenue? That's another one. On the issue of crime, how bad has it been for us? I mean, we have been told reliably when we're here that there's a syndicate here that when cars are stolen, the cars are driven here and they are stripped off and then sold on the markets as spare parts. How many vehicles have gone missing in this country? Who actually aids them to do it? How are they able to go scot-free, I say, without being noticed? This is the base. So you see, there are so many things that have gone on here which has impacted negatively on the economy, even in our lives, as well as people who goes about their normal duties. So this is a major change for us as a people, not governments, as a people. I'm sure you can feel the breeze that is coming. And you go up there and speak to them. I had a message yesterday. Somebody tells me, Henry, thank you very much. Thank the president. For 7 years, I had closed down my business here. 7 years. And if you go there and speak to them one by one, they'll tell you the challenges they've gone through in the last 15 years. It is not fair. So let us look at this positively and see what comes out of it. Then comes your question. Yes, it will be an exercise in futility if a single person returns to this place, and we will not, I repeat, it is not going to happen. Nobody is coming back here. Nobody. We will erect a fence here, be it wire mesh or concrete, and there will be a joint patrol team here, military, police, immigration, fully armed, and they will be here until central government. They have a plan. Central government has a plan. So that will be unveiled to you by the minister, who the appropriate person, you know. I don't know whether it's the interior minister, it's a defense minister, local government minister, sports minister, who will unveil. But I don't have the locals to do that.
So there is a plan, just not something
Certainly
that
there is.
shared. Okay, so let's talk about the security arrangements. On our way in here, we were stopped at a couple of checkpoints. You know, our IDs were checked before we were allowed to come in. I can see a heavy presence of armed men from the various security services around.
Oh, media men, heavy. What is the definition of heavy here?
Well, if you disagree, you have the.
Not that I disagree. It's a choice of words. You can say security men around, but when you say heavy, how heavy are they? I mean, let's be very honest.
Well, we counted more than 20 men.
And you think that for an exercise like this, 20 men is heavy? I'm asking you.
Well, we saw 20.
But I'm saying that
and
for an exercise of this nature, do you think that 20 men, you say is heavy?
Well, if you...
No, I'm asking you.
Yes, we thought it was a heavy presence. Not that we thought it's a bad thing.
Okay, so let's do this. Let's do this calculation. You look at the acreage of land here, and I want your cameraman to put it all the way from ICGC, that's the central mosque. We have reclaimed all these lands. Look at it. Now you can see Kolebu even from here, the mortuary. It goes there. Now, in doing this exercise, we have experienced some interferences from people who hitherto used to live here. They pelted the security agencies with stones. They blocked the road, and they they bent ties and all that. The security man has to approach the matter with all caution and professionalism, and by the grace of God, we're able to manage it. All that they are doing here is to ensure that work here will go on without any interruption. And I think that it's only fair. Having tasted a bit of how they can actually react, it is only fair for them to be armed. So let us not
so it sounds
get
like
the impression that there are heavy security men here. I mean, eventually that will be the headline.
Well, Mr. Korte, it sounds like their heavy presence is justified from what you've explained to us.
No, there are security presence. I think we should look at
just don't want
the
them
word.
to be described as heavy.
What is
fine.
heavy?
That is fine. So talk to us about the arrangement. At the moment, you have, we counted more than 20, and I'm sure there are...
Are we going to depend on counting 20 heavy? Because that's what your headline is going to be.
No, Mr. Korte, I have a question. You're not allowing me to get
But
to
I'm not, because I want you to correct that one. I don't want you to create the impression that there are heavy security personnel here.
And I think we've moved on from that.
But you haven't given me the indication that you've understood me.
How can I indicate to you, Mr. Korte, that I understand that you don't want us to call them heavy presence?
You see?
How may I do that?
You see, you are saying, I don't want you to call them. But I'm saying that let us all be on the same page to understand that with the kind of work, the volumes of debris and things that we are moving, and the machines that we are using, knowing that they always come to set things ablaze. We don't want machines to be set on fire, so it is okay to have a few of them here doing the work. That's all.
Very well. So we noted a few military and police and
that is the narrative. That's the narrative.
Services on the premises.
Very well.
Tell us about those arrangements. How long will we have them here, and what is their mandate? What have you asked them to do?
Oh, well, I'm a civilian. Usually when it comes to these issues, they are the experts. They come and do their reconnaissance. And after doing their reconnaissance, there's something called operational order. So they look at the work here, what they need in terms of personnel, logistics, and equipment. And I think that the experts have done so. The numbers, as you can see, have been reduced from what it used to be from the beginning of the exercise. In the beginning, when we came here, there were more. We had fire personnel, we had immigration, we had ambulance, we had all of them, not more, because we came to the scene like going into a disaster scene, you know what I mean, so that you have everything ready. Now that, and most of them were actually to help, to sweep, clean and all that, that's why they were brought in. So the numbers have been reduced, and every day they continue to reduce the numbers. Now what will happen is that once we secure this place, by way of clearing the debris and all that, which we are hoping that in the next 10 days we'll be able to do so, there will be some men here to be patrolling the place so that we secure it more. And then the fence will come up. Depending on the operational plan that they come up with, whether it's going to be a month or 2 or 3, that's I cannot tell. But the security agencies will be able to determine that. And then the central government will take it from there.
Okay. This is not the first location that you have cleared. You've already been to Medina, where you were able to remove those who were trading along the roads and those who were stopping and parking to pick up passengers. You have now created more of a smooth flow of traffic there. What's the plan for places like that, where perhaps you may not send security services? How do you ensure that what you have achieved there will be sustained?
Well, you would agree with me that in almost all the places that we've been to conduct these exercises, there are assemblies there. And the assemblies are those who are clothed with the powers and to enforce the local bylaws, if you like. So they lead it, the exercise, and then RCC collaborates with them. So your question is very simple, and the answer is simple as well. The assemblies led by the MCs are supposed to ensure the sustainability of the interventions that we make. And typical amongst them is what you see at Medina Zongo Junction. We are moving into the 3rd month, I believe, and so far, every day, the MC there tries to do something to improve upon the situation. But that's a short-term measure. We are looking at long-term measures. We will be training our people, and I think it's imperative that we say this. So tomorrow the media will not say we are training people to come and cause trouble. We want to train people that we call the city response team, so that they will augment the work of the police. Because you see, like Medina Zongo Junction, you cannot keep the police there forever. They will have to go and do other things by protecting lives and properties in this country. That is their mandate anyway. So the city response team will help with the management of the traffic and other issues that we think will help in the Let's Make Accra Work agenda.
What's the plan? Where are you going to source people for this team?
Well, because of the exercises, we are going to take them through a very rigorous selection process. We'll do background checks, we'll do fingerprinting, profiling, we'll have to go through the medicals and all that to make sure. And then also psyche them to understand that this is work for the country and not work to harass people, one, not work to actually enrich themselves, two. That is the kind of mentality we want to put in them, so the discipline will be high. And then they will be deployed at strategic places to help make sure that we are able to manage the traffic congestion and other issues that we deem and see as challenging, for that matter, what I call the indiscipline in Greater Accra.
So what's the next place where you are intending to achieve this kind of result?
Well, Agbogboshi itself is a complete package. We have done half of it. Now the next stage, phase 2, is in 3 phases actually. Phase 2 will be to look at the Konkomba yam market. So we'll commence engagement with them, find a place for them, having taken some lessons from this very exercise. We want to ensure that before they are even relocated, the issues of washrooms and all that and mosques does not arise. So those things will be put in place before they move. We are looking at doing that so for them to move by September, middle of October. So you have the entire area from this side cleared. Then you have the old Fadama, as you can see right there. Yeah. There are story buildings and all that there. So clearly,
that's not going to be an easy task, is it?
Oh, nobody has said so. But the good thing is that they have leadership. They have leadership, and so we will engage them. And it means that the government will have to find land for them somewhere and probably build some, whether it's prefab or whatever, to make sure that they are now being moved from here to a very humane environment, and the operational word is humane environment, where they have access to potable drinking water, washrooms, hospitals, and all that, you know. And so that will be a discussion that I'll be having with the central government, so that their movement, because they are rights, I mean, their movement perhaps will be the smoothest ever in this country, and I pray that that will happen.
How has the resettlement of the onion sellers been going so far?
Well, if I'm to quote one of the optional speeches that they made, I mean, I say optional because they have about 6 or 7 leadership. One of them said in the Hausa, which was translated, that all along they thought this place was good for them, but apparently they were in hell, and this is a quote. But now they know that they are in heaven. I think that sums it up. If they are saying that they were here was hell for them, and now they are in heaven, it sums it up. But rather what we want to do is not to get complacent. So the Minister for Sanitation and Sanitation, yes, is visiting them on Tuesday. The local government minister has been there. So we want to try and make the place as comfortable and convenient to do business. So we'll be there. We want to build a mosque for them. We want to, as it were, build washroom facilities for them. Originally, there was a 12.6 acre land, which was meant for the cattle rearers and all that to move in there. But fortunately, because we have been able to find some place for the cattle rearers, we want to turn that 12.6 acre into a lorry park, so that it's a long-term plan, so you don't experience what is happening at Medina Zongo Junction. But if we don't do that, another 5 years, you and I will have to go to Ajin Kotoku, and we have the same problem that we are having today. So the plan is give them a lorry park where all commercial vehicles will be made to go in, offload and load passengers. So strictly, nobody is going to work by the roadside. Then also, they used to have buses here that were loading to a long distance. We give them a space there. You don't want an onion seller who wants to go to Boku or Bolga to move from Ajin Kotoku to Seka before going to Bolga. So those things have been put in place. The engineers and the contractors are busily trying to prepare the land over there, and then so in the next 3-4 months, every day they are doing something there. And I believe that, as I said, by September or so, it will be a complete package for them. Yeah.
Now, on our way in here, of course, we realized that access to this area is restricted. We were stopped a couple of times. Our ID were checked before we were allowed through the barriers to get access. So what's the idea? Are we restricting access to this road, which leads from Abosilkine all the way to Jamestown area?
Alternative routes have been made for them. They are going through the back of Bayema and Litap, and then they connect to Agbogbloshie. Once we finish with the clearing of the debris, obviously we'll free the place. You see, usually when we allow them to go up and down, with these heavy-duty trucks, you never know what will happen. You know, some of them can fail brakes at any time. So it is just for their own good that we are able to have the free access that you can see now. And then because we are working with time, so they can move the debris within time and then go and come. So very soon we'll free the place.
Is there a timeline for the completion of all this?
Initially, the exercise was supposed to last for 3 days, but we've moved over 150 trucks of debris from here. 150 is an understatement, actually. Probably over 200 or more. The work here is huge. But so it's difficult to put a timeline to it. But we are looking at, say, in the next 10 days, God willing, we'll be able to bring it to an appreciable level where we can now invite the experts. Because of all manner of things that has happened here, you need an expert to come and look at the soil, what has to be done to it, blah, 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 before the urban roads will come in and all that. And the health officials will have to come in here. And that reminds me, we are planning to get the health officials to go to Agbogbloshie and do some health screening for our brothers and sisters who hitherto used to live here. I mean, you've only been here for about an hour. How does it feel like?
Yeah, it's quite a thick smoke, but it's actually
No, apart from the smoke, the stench.
Yeah.
And they've been in this for over 15 years, so it is only proper that we try and do some health screening for them, so that in case, as a result of having been here, they have, there's anything that has to be done for them, the central government will ensure that that is done. Yeah.
Now, at the moment, it looks as if once this road is clear, it will become a very useful path for those who in the past would have avoided it because of all the traffic.
Including yourself?
Well, yes. I would have happily found another way
Very well.
around. And now that it's clearing up, what's the plan for traffic control? Because obviously that could also happen. We could end up having another congested road like the many others we have in Accra.
So let me reiterate my earlier position. I am only a small mosquito. My business is to implement the policies once government passes them. So the question you're asking is multi-sectorial. The cabinet ministers, the road minister, the transport minister, interior minister, they will decide. And when they decide, obviously, they will tell us what plans they have. And then once they tell us, we will now ensure that it is fully implemented.
If you just joined us on radio, we're talking to the Greater Accra Regional Minister, Henry Quartey. He's somebody who has come up for quite a lot of commendation in recent times because it appears that he's achieving quite some sustainable results in the clearing of those who are settled illegally in certain parts of the capital, of the region. Mr. Quartey, it is quite unique to see the regional minister playing the role that you're playing here, and that's why you're coming up for such commendation. Administratively, help us understand how you've achieved this. Has this required some funding? How have you been able to gather the resources to use your office in the way that you've done so far?
Well, I can only say that we thank the good Lord Almighty. We thank the Excellency, His Excellency rather, the President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, the Vice President, and all the sector ministers. Because as you can see, this whole exercise, it's not just Henry Quartey. You've seen police, you've seen military, you've seen immigration, you've seen fire service. And they have sector ministries that controls them. So this is a collective, I say, success. It's not just me. And so let us look at it from that approach.
So I guess that means the funding hasn't really come from your office per se, but it's been.
Oh, there's a central government exercise. So certainly there's a central government.
Do you think what you've achieved is something that can be replicated in other regions?
Well, I hope we don't do that comparison because what pertains in Accra may not necessarily pertain in Ashanti region. What pertains in Accra may not necessarily pertain in the Volta region. I don't think that Volta region has got scrap dealers and onion sellers there. So the regional minister's approach may be different. You go to the northern region, of course, it's a different approach. So all the fingers are not equal. They have their strategy, I have my strategy. Put together, government moves on.
Well, they do have indiscipline and illegality everywhere you go in the country, and it is considered a success that you've been able to turn that indiscipline and illegality around to achieve what you've done so far. So are there any particular lessons in there that you think other regional ministers can pick from?
Well, I have to come back to the same answer. This is a cosmopolitan region, you see, and the numbers here are huge. But the voter register, even if we are to go by that, we are over 3.6 million eligible voter population, right? And then if you go to the ordinary, if you like, population, let me not be, but at least we are around 5 million plus. I don't think that there are 5 million people in the voter region. I do not think that there are 5 million people in Bono East. So you see, the approach is totally different. And that is why I'm saying that let us not compare what happens in Greater Accra to the other regions. I'm wondering whether there are scrap dealers at all in Bono region. Who are they going to sell to? You get my point? So the approach is completely different. And the regional ministers, for example, there's galamsey. They are fighting it in a different way. So there's no galamsey here. You get my point? So I'm trying that we do not do the comparisons at all.
So let's look to the future. No doubt there's more work to be done. You've already identified a few other places that you intend to engage with residents and see about moving them away. Do you think that going forward we could find a situation where people then start bringing to you issues in their specific areas in the region and asking for your office to play the role that you played?
The Regional Coordinating Council's offices is a public office. And so when people bring their challenges or problems to the RCC, I don't think there's any problem with it. Rather, what we do is to refer it to the appropriate assemblies or respective assemblies whose mandate it is to ensure that those issues are dealt with. And if it's beyond them, they refer it back to us, and then we also send same to the appropriate ministries, because you see, as I keep saying, there are cabinet ministries, there are sector ministries, and it is their mandates to actually do some of these things. You know what I mean? Yes.
The President wants Accra to be the cleanest city in Africa.
Certainly.
Are we going to see that happen?
One day at a time. We are there, and we will see that happening through the intervention of the media houses as well. And while saying this, let me commend the media houses for the wonderful collaboration that we have enjoyed with them so far. I mean, you're standing here today, and what you are doing is to send information to the world that this is where we are, and that alone is the magic. So a very, very, very warm felicitations to the media houses, and I salute all of them, all of you. But then you see, we can only sustain it if the reportage and the choice of words is circumspect. If the reportage seems to educate people more, seems to inform them more, and seems to join the exercise, because after all, this is where we work, this is where our children go to school, this is where we build our houses, and this is where we expect to retire. So it is a collective agenda. Let's all get involved. Let us rise. Let us build for God and country.
Mr. Henry Quartey, the whole country is vested in your success. If what you're doing works, everybody benefits. So on behalf of everyone, we want to congratulate you.
It is not rested in my success. It is rested in the success of His Excellency, the President, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo.
There is still a reason why we're speaking to you, Mr.
No, because I'm the servant. He's the president. You see, so let me ask you a question. You are here today. Is that to suggest that Chum should be going around? Your boss. You are Joy. You are here. And what are you doing? Working for Joy. And so who takes the credit? Multimedia. By who? Chum. So why don't I give it to my president?
Oh, we're not stopping.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But we're saying there's a reason why we're here to speak to you.
And that's the reason why I'm here, serving the people, because they voted for the president.
And like I said, we are all vested in the success of what you're doing. So
in the success of what government is doing.
Right, we wish you the very best.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, there you have it. That's the Greater Accra Regional Minister. And as he has indicated, this is only the beginning. There is more to come. And so the people of Accra can expect that more results like what we're seeing here at the Onion Sellers Market will see. Let's go.
Colonel.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I was behind the gutter, those structures there.
You're working on them? Oh, beautiful.
Well, that was my colleague Kojo Yankson interacting there with the Greater Accra Regional Minister, Henry Quartey. Interesting bits coming up, but one thing we can take from there, right from there in Agbogbloshie, the Konkomba market as well, the yam market being targeted as the next place where there will be some action. Of course, we shall be bringing you all the tidbits you need to know on the back of that. This is how we wrap up. We close the AM show for another beautiful morning, wherever you are. Thank you for making the time. Let's connect again, same time tomorrow. From us here, it is bye-bye. Enjoy your Thursday.